What would you do if the kids everyone laughed at were secretly the most dangerous people in the room? Before we begin, I need you to lean in close, because this story isn't just entertainment. It's a reminder that you never truly know who you're dealing with. If you believe in justice, in strength wrapped in silence, in underdogs who refuse to stay down, then hit that subscribe button right now and join a community that celebrates power, resilience, and truth. Because today's story is one you'll never forget. In the heart of suburban America, in a quiet Georgia town where manicured lawns hid messy truths, lived twin brothers Isaiah and Ismail Carter, identical in face but different in fire. Tall for their age at 17, dark-skinned, soft-spoken, and new to Westbrook High, a school known more for its football trophies than its tolerance. Their mother, Denise Carter, had moved them after accepting a nursing position at Grady Memorial Hospital, hoping for a fresh start after years of scraping by on Chicago's South Side. The twins kept to themselves the first week, navigating hallways filled with whispering students who stared too long, some curious, others calculating. It started small, the way these things often do. Shoulder bumps that lingered a second too long, locker doors slammed shut just before they reached them, laughter that rose in pitch when they passed. Leading the charge was Brent Holloway, quarterback royalty with a jawline carved from arrogance and a father who owned half the town's car dealerships. Brent didn't like competition, didn't like change, and certainly didn't like the quiet confidence he sensed in the twins, though he mistook it for weakness. "Y'all lost?" Brent asked one afternoon, leaning against Isaiah's locker, flanked by his loyal shadows, Tyler and Mason. Isaiah met his gaze calmly. "No, just that. No attitude, no fear." That composure irritated Brent more than any insult could have. The harassment escalated. Textbooks knocked from their hands. Cafeteria trays tipped over accidentally. Racial slurs muttered under breath, but loud enough to sting. Teachers noticed, but chose neutrality, the coward's cousin to complicity. What no one at Westbrook knew was that every morning before sunrise, the twins trained in the garage of their modest rental home. Mats rolled out across concrete heavy bags suspended from steel beams their uncle had welded years before. Their father, Marcus Carter, had been a third-degree black belt in Shotokan karate before he passed away when the twins were 13, killed in a convenience store robbery while shielding a stranger's child from gunfire. After his death, the boys had trained harder, earning their own black belts by 16 under the stern mentorship of Master Kenji Tanaka, a retired Marine who had seen enough violence to know discipline mattered more than fury. "Your strength," Tanaka would say, "is for protection, never pride." The twins carried that lesson like scripture. At school, they absorbed humiliation in silence, not because they couldn't fight, but because they chose not to, yet. Brent interpreted restraint as surrender. One Friday afternoon, after a pep rally drenched in red and gold confetti, Brent cornered Ismail in the locker room while Isaiah was in the principal's office discussing advanced placement classes. "You think you're better than us?" Brent sneered, shoving Ismail against cold metal. Ismail's eyes flickered, not with fear but calculation, measuring distance, angle, exits. He could end this in 3 seconds. He didn't. "I don't think about you at all," he replied evenly. That line detonated Brent's ego. Tyler swung first, a clumsy hook telegraphed from a mile away. Ismail pivoted instinctively, the punch slicing through empty air, and gently but firmly redirected Tyler into a locker with a thud that sounded worse than it was. Mason charged next. Ismail sidestepped, swept his leg with precision, and Mason hit the floor hard, breath knocked out. Brent froze, stunned by the sudden choreography of controlled violence. Ismail didn't strike him. Instead, he leaned close and whispered, "Walk away." Brent did, but humiliation festered like infection. By Monday, rumors twisted truth into fantasy. Some said Ismail had used a weapon. Others claimed he'd sucker punched Tyler. The administration called it mutual conflict and assigned detention to all involved, including Ismail. Isaiah's jaw tightened when he heard. "We can't keep letting them write the narrative," he said that night, hands wrapped as he pummeled the heavy bag. "Dad didn't teach us to be silent victims." Ismail exhaled slowly. "He also didn't teach us to fight for ego." The real twist came days later when a video surfaced. Not of the locker room, but of Brent and his crew vandalizing the twins' car, spray painting slurs across the hood. They hadn't known the elderly neighbor across the street, Mrs. Alvarez, had installed security cameras after. Alvarez had installed security cameras after a string of package thefts. She marched straight to Denise Carter with a flash drive in hand. Denise, tired of swallowing injustice, took the footage to the school board and the local news station. Within 48 hours, the story exploded across social media. Star quarterback caught in racially charged vandalism scandal. Brent's father tried to bury it with donations and threats, but the evidence was irrefutable. Suspension followed. College scouts began to distance themselves. Yet anger doesn't evaporate, it mutates. Brent blamed the twins for his downfall, ignoring his own actions entirely. He rallied a few desperate loyalists and devised a plan to teach them a final lesson at the upcoming Fall Festival, an annual carnival held in the school parking lot under strings of golden lights and the illusion of community. Isaiah sensed something brewing. Years of sparring had sharpened more than his reflexes. That night, as laughter and music floated through the crisp air, Brent approached with forced swagger. "Let's settle this," he announced loudly, drawing a circle of eager spectators who smelled blood or entertainment. Either would do. Isaiah stepped forward, heart steady. "You sure?" he asked quietly. Brent swung without warning, a wild right fueled by wounded pride. Isaiah slipped left, countered with a lightning-fast palm strike that stopped an inch from Brent's nose, the air displacement alone making him stumble backward. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Tyler lunged at Ismail, but Ismail executed a flawless hip throw, sending Tyler crashing onto padded festival turf. Mason attempted a tackle. Isaiah sprawled, locked an armbar with surgical precision, and held just enough pressure to immobilize without injury. Within seconds, all three aggressors were grounded, breathless, defeated not by rage but by mastery. The crowd fell silent, the illusion shattered. Phones recorded everything. But here was the final twist no one expected. Instead of gloating, Isaiah released Mason gently and offered him a hand up. Ismail stepped back, creating space rather than dominance. "We never wanted this," Isaiah said to Brent, who knelt in the dirt, pride in pieces. "We wanted peace." Those words traveled faster than any punch. The video went viral, not as a fight clip, but as a lesson in restraint. Comment sections filled with admiration for the twins' discipline, outrage at the bullying culture, and debates about accountability. Master Tanaka watched the footage later, eyes glistening. "You honored your father," he said simply. The school district implemented anti-bullying reforms under public pressure. Brent transferred quietly the next semester, his family citing privacy concerns. Tyler joined the wrestling team and, in a surprising arc of humility, asked Ismail for training tips months later. Mason apologized in a halting, awkward conversation by the lockers where it had all begun. As for the twins, they didn't chase fame. They started a free self-defense workshop at the local community center every Saturday, teaching kids, especially those who felt small, that strength begins in the mind. Denise watched from the sidelines one morning as a shy freshman executed her first confident block, tears pooling in her eyes. She saw Marcus and her sons, the same steady hands, the same protective spirit. And in that quiet Georgia town, beneath Friday night lights that once illuminated cruelty, a new narrative took root. Never mistake silence for weakness, never assume you know someone's story, and never underestimate those who have trained in the dark while you were busy laughing in the light.